Alright, Jared Randall here. Just gonna kind of chime in here a bit, and I think the messages are gonna come a lot faster, be a lot more frequent, more regular here. And this has to do with the election that just passed, and it's kind of what I knew was happening. Is a time of relative silence for me, because I was prepared for what's happened and the timeline that I'm on. And so there's some of you who are going to hear this, and maybe you didn't think this is the timeline you were going to be on. There's a lot of people in the spiritual community who have this idea of everything's going to be easy, that we're just all ascending together, and everything's just going to suddenly change, and it's all going to be great. And what ends up happening is then something like an election happens, and things don't go the way you thought they were going to go. And so that's what I'm speaking to. And for some people, I might be speaking to people where the election did go the way you wanted it to, and I got news for you. As good as you think it's going to be, it's not going to be. It's not going to make the world all better. In fact, you're gonna start learning some things, and you're gonna start realizing some things that you needed to realize. Just gonna leave that there for now. And for folks who thought this was gonna go a different way and are disappointed, things aren't gonna be as bad as you think. And also, what you're prepared for, what you've been preparing for, the world that you want to see come into being, this is necessary. For the timeline that you're traveling along, and not just necessary. It's not necessary in that way. Let me put it this way: I knew I could pick whatever timeline I wanted to be on, and I also know that there's a version of me on every timeline. So, except for the ones where there isn't, and I'm already gone. And, there's something in me that knew that the version of me that was going to be activated, or that has been activated for this timeline, where this election, especially the presidential election in the United States, goes the way that it has, all right, that I would be here for this. And there's reasons for it, and there's a whole lot that I've been preparing for over a year now. I'm not concerned, because I knew. I kind of knew that's what was going on, and here we are. But some of you are not happy right now. You're worried. You're very concerned about the way the world's going to go, about the way the United States is going to go, how people are going to get treated. And I'm not saying that you're necessarily wrong. We're not done. Overall, we've had a split timeline happen. There's versions of us on other, basically half the timelines where this whole election went one way, and about half the timelines where the election has gone this way, and then there's all kinds of variations from there. And some of those variations are gonna, are gonna come back together and make a world happen that's very similar, and some of them are gonna be very different, okay? And I'm not saying anything at this point about what one that I think you're in, if you're listening to this and you're hearing my words right now. I'm not making those types of predictions. And spiritual people and people who put themselves out there as psychics need to stop doing that, because it's not how things work. Timeline split. Yeah, you can make almost any prediction, and on some timeline that's going to happen, and it's not really important. We need to get ourselves, folks who are spiritual, folks who are on an ascension journey, folks who are headed for bringing about what has been called the New Earth, what in fact Gaia herself is strongly in favor of as a new Earth. We have to go through some things before that can happen, okay? On certain energetic timelines, we have to go through some things before that can happen, and some of those things are not going to be pleasant, and some of those things are going to be rather nasty. Some of those things aren't going to get as nasty as we are worried that they're going to get also. So this is a time to be more even keeled about things, to really take a deep breath. Your journey isn't over. If you're surprised that you're on this timeline, if this isn't the timeline you thought you wanted, there's something about you that wants to be on this timeline, okay? There's something about you that is going to be okay with this timeline, that needs to be on this timeline, okay? And it's all going to be fine. And yeah, that's the main message today, okay? So don't get swept up in fear and worry. That's the worst thing that we can do with stuff like this. Because here's the thing. There is opposition to us, okay? To those of us who are on an ascension journey, who have that sense of ourselves, going onward and upward. We're becoming more sensitive to spiritual things. We are, I mean, you're working with energies. You're working with your own energies. You've probably done a lot of cord cutting. Your life might have changed a lot in the last 5 to 10 years. And that's not done. Just because this result happened, that's not done. It's not at all over. That's not what this means. Okay? When something big like this doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, and it feels like, wait a minute, why am I in this timeline? Why am I in this world? This isn't the one I wanted. Understand, there's something that wants you to feel that way. There are energies that want you to feel down and depressed, that want you to feel fear and worry, and that is the battle. It doesn't matter what timeline you're on and what timelines you meander to and end up on. The battle is all about fear and worry. That is what we are learning to overcome, because it's the fear and worry that cause us to keep making a world that is not the world we want to see. And even those of us, and this is a big thing that some of us are learning right now. You had high hopes, perhaps, about a different result happening in this election, and now you're experiencing fear and worry. Well, guess what? You were already experiencing fear and worry, because you're so high hopes about, oh, this has to go this way or else. Right? Or else I don't know what I'm going to do. Folks who are like, oh, I'm going to, move here, I'm going to move there, I'm going to get out of the United States. All this kind of fear mongering and worrying and stuff. That's the energy that you need to identify. And you're on this timeline and you're in this moment because you needed to identify that. You needed to put your finger on that, so that you can know it and know what it is and understand that that's what you need to overcome. Okay? That's what you need to overcome. That's the actual battle. That's the actual struggle. That's what you need to overcome to ascend. Okay? It's fear and worry. So that's pretty much the message. That's why I am here on this timeline. Again, I'm not going to make specific predictions at this point. There may be points where I will start to do some of that as it becomes clear what timeline we're on, that I'm on with you. And there will be, I'm certain, versions of me that will make, different predictions if that starts to happen, because there will be different timelines, and there will be things that here and there, I think, I believe, I trust, this is what I'm getting from Spirit, is that there will be certain things that will be a little bit predicted just to calm fears, to and more not so much calming fears. We need to do that anyway. We need to do that for ourselves. We need to learn to do that for ourselves. We need to learn to not be so, I gotta control everything. I need the outside world in control, so that I can feel okay. No, you can learn to feel okay wherever you are, no matter what's going on. And so again, the finger on the pulse of the moment is identifying fear and worry. Where is it sitting in your body? Start working on your energy centers. Okay, there's real work here to be done. This isn't some highfalutin whatever. Okay, this message is rubber meets the road. If you're feeling anything after this election, find out where that is in your body, and do work on your energy centers. If you do chakra work, do chakra work. If you don't think of it that way and you think of it another way, that's fine. If you don't know, you've never done any energy work in that way, I highly recommend you can look up some of my older videos where I've talked about doing work with your energy centers and your chakras. You can look up things online. Don't get anything that in my opinion, don't get into anything that's overly overly dogmatic. Okay, go with what feels right. Okay, you will. There's a thing if you're on this journey that I think is important, and this is something I've done pretty much all my life, and I'm going to give an example of it. Okay, this is one example of it. Would be, say, I see a book in a store or in a library or a library sale. I used to go to library sales a lot and buy the old books, right, that they didn't want anymore, stuff like that, or garage sales, whatever. I just see random books, and I would know I needed to buy this book. Whatever, it's the cover, the author, something, and it would call out to me and I'd buy it. But the thing is, I would often get these books back home, and I wouldn't read them for months, years even, maybe even a decade or more. And at some point, that book calls out to me, and I know, it's time for that book, and there's something in it for me, okay? So, that's how you need to approach this stuff. If you've got energy work you need to do, well, just go with your feelings, go with your intuition. Whatever you're telling yourself you need, go towards that, okay? And just work with that energy. If you need to light candles, light candles. If you have an altar, go to your altar and do that altar work. If you don't have an altar, I highly recommend setting up some kind of an altar to, for instance, make an ancestor altar. Make an altar where you can do work with the whole cycle of the moon, right? The monthly cycle of the lunar cycle. I've got videos in the past that talk about those things. Could be any kind of altar, right? Whatever calls to you, do that. Trust yourself. There's something coming out. There's something coming out that's deep inside of you that you know how to do already. You know what to do already. You need to follow that, and that's going to help you. And it doesn't have to look like what anyone else does. This is the thing about New Earth. New Earth is not about everyone doing everything all the same. It's not what it's about. It's about everyone being themselves, and everyone learning to let everyone else be themselves. As long as you're not hurting someone else, you're not doing it wrong. Okay? As long as you're not hurting yourself as well. So, that's what's coming through right now. I just want to, finish this by just spreading, as much sense of peace and light, love to anyone who hears this. Everything's gonna be okay. Overall, everything's gonna be okay. No one is lost. No one is not where they should be. You are where you should be. You're in the time you should be, and learn to be in your now moment, in your present moment, and moment by moment. do work on the side with meditation, energy work, and so on to find your center and learn to take that out into the world with you. If you've already done that work, then you're already along your way. Don't let this moment throw you off track. You are right where you need to be. Things are going to be okay. But it's going to be a struggle, and a lot of things are going to get revealed by all this, okay? A lot of people are going to see themselves in the mirror because of all this, okay? And that's a big part of and it's happening on every side of things. I don't care who you voted for in this election, you're probably going to go through some of that, where you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and find something that, oh, I didn't know I was this way. Oh, I need to work with that. I need to work on that. There will be a message about healing work coming up. There's some things we need to talk about with healing work. It's very important. How we approach healing, how we think of healing work. The short version is, some of us have spent the last several months, several years, however long, fetishizing healing work. We're just too wrapped up in healing work. This is a time to act. We're in action time right now. We're in let's focus on what we're supposed to be doing time. Now that we've gotten through these energies of this election was a big, I cannot emphasize it, huge splitting point in timelines. And now you're in this timeline and you've been prepared for it, and there may be more you need to do to prepare for it, or to think about exactly why you're here, what you're to do, what you're to be. It may not be so much, sometimes doing is not the right idea, right? It's who you need to be in the life that you already have, okay? So you're not being punished. If it feels like you're being punished, for some of you, you might feel like you're being punished right now. You're not. It's not what this is about, okay? So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Again, sending you peace, sending you love, and all the light you can stand.